On Tartan Tales, we acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional custodians of the Adelaide Plains and the Mount Lofty Ranges where Seymour College stands today.
Hi everyone, I'm Eliza, joined with Lucy, and welcome back to Tartan Tales. Today we are talking with old Collegian Laurie, who is currently in her final year of Paramedicine and preparing to begin her career as a first responder. For many students, deciding what comes after school can feel exciting, overwhelming, and sometimes a little uncertain. Mimi has recently navigated her transition herself, moving from Seymour College to university and into a demanding healthcare degree. In this episode, we'll explore what university life is really like, what drew Mimi to paramedicine, and what the lessons she learnt along the way. Mimi, thank you so much for joining us today.
Let's start at the beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're studying at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm currently in my third year of paramedicine. I really enjoy the healthcare aspect. I've always kind of been drawn to your more STEM-focused subjects, so I always knew healthcare was the profession for me. I mean, I grew up with a mum who was always advocating for type 1 diabetes. We did lots of community service, so I was always kind of into helping the community. And I just knew paramedicine would be a path where I could go into so many different unpredictable environments, use a lot of problem solving, complex thinking, use some theoretical knowledge to, dictate pathways and how to treat these patients. So I kind of always knew I wanted to do something along those aspects. So that kind of drew me towards paramedicine.
Yeah. Nice. So as you mentioned, you're always into STEM here at Seymour. Who was a teacher that helped you sort of guide that navigation of what career to go down and everything like that?
Yeah, well, I think Mr. Brown, I'm pretty sure he's still teaching here. Yeah. He was my physics teacher. He was, definitely one of my favourite teachers here. Always just kept the classes light, particularly when you're doing such a difficult subject. He was always, pushing me to do my best, always had like good banter in class and, definitely. And also Mr. Dutcher, he was my spec and my methods teacher. He just was always like really cared about all of the students, always just really wanted you to do well and push you to do as well as you can. So he was definitely as well one of the people that helped me.
So you said you've sort of always been interested in medicine and STEM, but was there a particular moment or experience that made you think that this is exactly what you want to do?
I think when I was doing my uni preferences, I put paramedicine first. I was doing nursing. I was considering a lot of different healthcare pathways. I think for me, the moment that I knew that paramedicine was the pathway for me was actually starting university. And my first week there, just the environment that was there, all of the people that were there and working on actual patients in like the high intensity situation in class was kind of that confirming factor for me. It was definitely that first couple of weeks at uni, which has kind of driven me to, keep pushing myself and everything with the degree.
Yeah. You spoke about doing your uni preferences.
Yeah.
How did you navigate that with the help of teachers and family, and what was that experience like?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the advice that we're given, because ATAR obviously has an aspect into getting into many courses. Paramedicine was first because it was the highest ATAR that was required. I did nursing afterwards because I knew that was also a pathway into paramedicine as well. So I think, just talking to a lot of different people, I think I always knew that I had the ability to stay calm in stressful situations. So I always thought that was definitely my top preference, and kind of being out on placement and being out on road as well, being able to stay calm in those situations as well has helped me kind of, decide that was the career path.
Many of our listeners are thinking about life after school. What was the transition from Seymour to university really like for you?
I think you hear it a lot, and it's how independent you are at uni. And I kind of thought, I was so independent at school. Like had it all figured out, like I was doing my assignments and everything. But university, definitely, like if you don't submit something, they don't care. It's a lot like you need to be able to focus on yourself and figure out your own routine, because when you go to school, you wake up, you go to school every day, you're there all day, whereas at university, you don't have to go to class, you don't have to do all these things. So I think it's just choosing your own routine and kind of falling into step with that was one of the hardest parts about kind of navigating, keeping up with exercise, seeing your friends and things like that. So for me, it was just transitioning to that different routine. So I think that was, quite difficult, but we got there.
Could you go into a little bit more about what that routine of uni life looks like for you now?
Yeah, so I'm at uni. This year I'm actually not at uni too many days. A lot of it's since COVID, a lot of universities are online, so all of your lectures and everything are online. So for me, it's kind of, I work better and studying better in the morning, so I try and get up, I try and go to the gym or do some kind of exercise. I do my study during the day, and usually my university classes are in the afternoon, and most of the time they're practical classes, so I'm in there working on patients, working with my friends and things like that. And then I'll try to, work and things like that as much as I can. But yeah, it's just kind of, navigating that balance.
Is there anything in particular that surprised you about uni life or like work-life balance?
Yeah, I think for me it was, how independent you are. I think one thing that surprised me was all of the little kind of things you have to do at uni with like just little quizzes and things like that, and just trying to keep track of everything. I think when I first started, I really struggled to figure out everything that I had to do, navigating a new system and things like that. So that probably surprised me most. I think in my first week of uni, I missed like 3 hurdle tasks, had to email like the topic coordinator and say, because hurdle tasks, if you don't pass a hurdle task, you fail the whole topic. And I didn't realise that we had to do that. So it was, didn't make that mistake again. So it's one of those things, you make mistakes, you like email your topic coordinator, you talk to your friends and you make sure you don't make them again. So I think that's, good.
Yeah. So speaking about independency, what was the like main challenge or moment that you had any doubt, or how did you work through them?
Yeah, so I've definitely had quite a few doubts. It's such an intense degree. You spend so much time studying. It's really jam-packed into the 3 years. So I think the doubts are probably, like nearing exam times and things like that, and you've got so much work to do. I think for me, it's kind of looking at the bigger picture. When I go out on placement, I love it so much, and I just know that that's the career path that I want to do. So when I have doubts, I kind of like take a step back from, focusing just on what I'm studying, and I take a step back and I think, okay, what's the end goal? Like, what am I actually really working towards? And so I just remind myself that, like, helping people, being out there is why I'm putting in the effort and putting in the time now. So those are the kind of things that help me get through those, hard times at uni.
And to help get yourself through those hard times, like, do you wish there was anything that you, like, knew before university, like, that you could have prepared better for, or someone could have told you that would have helped you?
Yeah, I think for me, when I was in school, I think volunteering, this degree just provides you with so much perspective on the way that so many different people live. So you're going into other people's homes, and I think for me it was a bit of a shock. Like, I knew I'm at Seymour, we're so privileged, we're so lucky with all the opportunities that we're given. And I think growing up, my parents did try to prepare me and say, like, look, you guys are very lucky with what you, like, with all the opportunities that you have. But really, when I got out there on road and I was walking into people from lower socioeconomic classes and kind of seeing the way that these people, live from day to day and the struggles that they have, I think personally I would do more volunteer work if I could have. I did volunteer Kicks Up for Kids when I was in high school, and that did provide me with some perspective, which I really value. And looking back, I think that was such an important and valuable life experience that I had when I was still in school. So I think that would probably be like the advice that I would give, is kind of put yourself outside of, your friends and your family. They're amazing and it's so good, but I'd put myself out there to do more volunteer work for like the lower socioeconomic classes and people that do really struggle. I think that would be the advice that I'd give.
Yeah, so along with that, what skills or qualities do you think are most important for someone considering a career as a paramedic?
I think for me, I think it's communication, your ability to talk to patients. I think that's the most important thing. I think a lot of the cases that we go to, you have to be able to build rapport with these patients. You have to ask lots of very personal questions, and I think you need to be able to have body language and communication and like techniques as well to communicate with these patients and really get to the bottom of kind of what's been happening. And I also think it's so important, it's a very teamwork-based environment. When you get to these higher acuity cases, you've got nearly 10 paramedics on scene and you're trying to communicate with everyone, and you're just working on one patient. So I think communication is one of the most important things, and also just wanting to learn and wanting to be there. I think that applies not even just in healthcare, I think that applies everywhere, but I think anybody can get through the degree if you just want to learn and you want to be there, and that's reflected when you go on placement. Your paramedics just want you to want to be there, and they want you to ask questions, they want you to learn. So I think those are probably the attributes.
So you say you've done some placement. How often is that, and what does a typical week look like for a paramedicine student?
Yeah, so I've done nearly, I think about 400 hours of placement over my degree. So we do 12-hour shifts most of the time. Ours is just you get given a random shift and you kind of work like at the start of the semester. So you just do random shifts throughout uni. So it's hard to balance because a lot of the time you've got uni for 3 days and then you've got placement for the next 3 days. And they do throw a night shift in there for you just to be extra nice to the students. But yeah, kind of usual days, you kind of get up. You usually are meeting the crew for the first time that day. You could have a different crew every time. So it's just kind of going on jobs. When you're working metro, so in the city, you get a lot more jobs, a lot more patients in comparison to more regional areas. You get less jobs, but that's kind of what the typical day looks like.
Yeah. So you were talking about night shifts and the high demand of paramedicine. How do you balance the study, placement, work, friendships, and the personal well-being?
I think while you're studying, you're really trying to narrow down like your routine and how you deal with it because, when you get out on road next year, it's really hard to navigate. So I think for me, what works best is sticking to a routine. So I like to plan my week. If I know I've got placement, I'm like, okay, so I've got to get this study done before my placement. What have I got to do on placement? What do I need to get done? Also trying to keep up with exercise. I think that's one of the things that helps me the most. I think staying fit, eating healthy, planning my meals to try and get through those harder weeks with placement definitely helps. And when you're at uni, it's so easy to kind of not neglect, but it's really find it a lot more difficult with everyone's busy schedules to see your friends and things like that. So I try and plan something like a walk so that I'm getting in my exercise and I still get to catch up with my friends. So I think that also helps a lot as well.
People often associate paramedics with emergency situations and high pressure moments. Is this the reality of the profession?
Yeah, I think there's a bit of a misconception that every case that you go to on placement, they're really high acuity cases. So you think they're going to be really, really sick. In reality, a lot of the time they are lower acuity. So they're just kind of an old lady's had a fall and we're just going to go help her up because they've got no one else to get them to hospital or somebody's had a bit more pain. But yeah, the reality of there is some high acuity cases and I've been there on placement and I think, your working memory when you're in those higher stress situations really reduces. So I think things that help me when I'm in those high stress situations is just kind of when I'm at uni, I really focus on making sure I know what to do in each scenario because when I get that out there on road, my working memories decrease. So I can just pull on the things that I've learned and just have that in the back of my mind all the time. So it's just kind of knowing exactly what to do, how to treat each patient, I think is really important.
Yeah, so dealing with high pressure moments in the workplace, how do you think your time here at Seymour helped get you prepared for that? Yeah,
I think my time here at Seymour just really taught me, we did lots of first aid, we did lots of community service things. I think having good ground for studying the theoretical things that really helped me at Seymour to develop my knowledge and things like that. So the theoretical side definitely was helped a lot as Seymour, and that's been able to be applied in those higher stress situations because I've got that theoretical knowledge to back up what I'm doing when I'm there treating patients. So,
even though you had knowledge to back it up, was there something that surprised you about paramedicine when you went into it at uni, or something you were unprepared for?
Yeah, I think I was unprepared for how calm paramedics are. You see all the time that all these paramedics, they're so calm. I think, when I was out there, everybody was just so relaxed, so chill all the time. I think that definitely surprised me a fair bit. But I think also what surprised me was how they kind of navigate all of these high acuity cases, I guess, as well. I think just the fact that you weren't always going to walk into a really hectic scene. I think that was definitely something that surprised me because sometimes we walk in and they're sitting on the couch and they're talking to you and they're okay. I think that was definitely a big surprise for me.
Yeah. So you were talking about how everyone on the job is typically calm or, a little bit more relaxed and resilient. Mm. How do you manage that, and what was a tip that a paramedic gives you? What was that advice like?
I think the advice they gave me was always just to, take a moment when you need a moment. I think when you're in these highs, when I'm attending a patient who's a patient in cardiac arrest, for example, what I did when I felt myself getting a little bit okay, I'm getting quite stressed at the moment, they kind of look at me and they're like, okay, let's take a breath, let's take a step back, let's think about what we're doing, let's think about it methodically. I think that definitely helps. Definitely that was good advice and yeah.
Paramedicine's obviously quite challenging.
Yeah.
But has there been a rewarding experience, and what's the most rewarding experience you've experienced so far?
Yeah, I think the most rewarding experiences I've found is when I've been treating patients that I've been able to build rapport with. I think just having a chat to them, I think a lot of people really confide in paramedics, and when I've on placement acted as the attending clinician, building rapport with those patients and just being someone that they're there to talk to, I think those are the most rewarding cases for me. I think being able to a lot of people don't have people that they can talk to. They don't have people they can confide in. So when I've been able to be that person for someone else, I think has been the most rewarding experience for me, I think.
Yeah. Touching on that, is there a particular case that has sort of stuck with you during your studies that you sort of reflect on and think, yeah, that's really what makes me happy to do this?
Yeah, I think it can sound a bit morbid, but when I went to a cardiac arrest scenario start of this year, I think when I was there, my ability to stay calm, I was really involved in the arrest. My paramedics were so amazing in letting me treat the patient and do things. I think kind of walking out of that scenario really confirmed that this is what I want to do. I want to be able to be there for people on their worst days. I want to be able to, think methodically. I want to be able to treat the patient to the best of my ability. And I think that definitely confirmed that this was the right profession for me.
Has there been any situations like your cardiac arrest situation that's taught you something new about yourself you might not have known before?
Yeah, I think what it's taught me is that I think what the degrees taught me more than just particularly those cases is just how lucky I am to have been at Seymour, to have the family that I've got. I think it makes me reflect a lot on my life because you're just going to so many different unpredictable environments. It's just made me reflect and kind of given me more drive to take every opportunity that I can. And life's so short and it can be so confronting, some of the things that you go to, and it makes you realise you really have to take every opportunity that you're given. And yeah, it's really driven me to kind of be the best version of myself in every capacity because you don't know what tomorrow holds. And that degree is definitely an eye-opening to that. So yeah.
You were saying that obviously being grateful to be a Seymour student. What are some things that Seymour had taught you about your personal values that you have now taken into life?
Yeah, well, I think we grow by serving, most definitely. I think that is such an amazing motto that the school has. I think it just provided me with such a foundation for that I've taken on to the rest of my life. And I think doing my Certificate 3 in community service really helped me and, just provided me with such valuable goals to live by as well. And strength, optimism and justice I think is also really good, being optimistic I think is also very important. It just provided a lot of strength and a lot of foundation for me to take to my life.
Is there any advice you'd give to students who are considering a career in healthcare?
Yeah, I think the advice that I'd give would just be to give it a go. I think it's okay to make mistakes. I think if you go in and you start studying and you're like, okay, maybe this isn't the career path for me, that's okay. But I think putting yourself out there as much as you can. And I think, just doing little things to build up your communication, I think that's just so important. I think when you're young, I was the same. You can be shy to talk to people and things like that. But I think it's just, talk to new people. I think if you like talking to people, I think you'd really enjoy a career in healthcare.
Yeah, along with that, not in particular healthcare, but people looking to study at university, what would you sort of suggest and give advice about?
Yeah, I think for me, I think when you go to university, it's such a unique experience. I've made so many friends. I've got such a hands-on degree. I think for me it would be to just go, show up and kind of be there and take all of your university life and just really cherish it, I think would be my advice. I'm in my third year and it's flown by. But I think, also just sticking to routine. Not necessarily sticking to routines, that works for you, that does. But I think, staying on top of uni is really good. And,
If you could go back and speak to your Year 12 self, what would you tell her?
That's a good question. What would I tell my Year 12 self? I think I would probably when you're in Year 12, it's so all-consuming. Yeah. I think, you're so focused on study and you're so focused on ATAR and you're so focused on things outside of school. I think it's just realising how young you are and how much more of your life you don't have to decide right now what you want to do. You can, experiment with different things and you can travel and see the world. So I think that's probably what I'd tell her.
So if someone's super into paramedicine but don't quite achieve the ATAR, they were hoping to get into that course, then what do you, how would they get around that, and what do you suggest they could do to help themselves?
Yeah, so I think, because I obviously went straight from school into paramedicine, I was hesitant that I would even get in straight out of school. I wasn't sure. In my cohort, they just happened to take a larger group of people, and that's why I got in. But I would recommend studying something like nursing or a medical science degree and then transferring across into paramedicine. And Flinders is the only university in South Australia that offers the degree. So I'd recommend, studying nursing. A lot of my friends did med science and then they transferred across. But there's so many different pathways, and not getting in straight out of school doesn't stop you at all. There's so many mature age students. There's so many people that didn't get in straight after school. So, yeah.
So as you say on the case, it can be pretty confronting. How do you confide in others, or what do you do to make sure that you're okay after you see certain things?
Yeah, so when you're out on placement, every paramedic that you're with understands they've been through it. So I think what we do on road is we debrief every difficult case. So you'll stand around, you'll say strengths, what went well during the case, areas for improvement, just self-reflecting after the case initially is always good to help with that kind of load. And then afterwards, last year I attended a really difficult case and I was so involved with study. Second year, there was just so much going on. For me, there were so many supports. The university, I was being contacted by the university's supports, by the South Australian Ambulance Service supports as well. And I kind of took that and I thought, well, this is a degree and this is a profession that I want to be able to do for as long as possible. And burnout is such a important factor. A lot of people get burnout as a paramedic. So I thought, well, I want to be able to deal with this myself and improve my mental health so that I'm able to be in this profession for as long as I can. So I was seeking external support. So I was seeing a psychologist who was experienced in dealing with first responders who have seen those. And I found that really helped. And then when I have moments where I get flashbacks and things like that this year, I kind of have ways to deal with that and how to process those things as well. So that really helps. So there's lots of supports for you. And the university is great. And I think bringing it back to Seymour, I think they were so aware of your mental health and they really encourage you to talk about things and make sure that you're okay. So I think having that background here has carried on to my degree and how I am now as well.
So we were speaking before and you were talking about travel. Where did that fit into your study life, and where did you go and what you experienced?
Yeah, so I didn't take a gap year and I always knew that I did want to travel. So for me, kind of navigating that is in my first year I was saving up and I went to Europe over the uni break. So uni, you have so many breaks and we have 3 months off over summer. So I did 2 months in Europe and was able to travel while also being in university. So I think if you want to take a gap year and travel, I think that's amazing as well. But it's also going to university straight out of school doesn't prevent you from getting those opportunities. I think that's really important. You can do little trips all throughout uni. I mean, I've got a month break in 3 weeks, so you can literally go anywhere that you want. So I think that's also, it doesn't stop you from seeing the world. So, yeah.
So this is your last year at uni. Is there anything you're looking forward to next year in the workforce, or something that scares you?
Yeah, I think every time I go on placement, I will see something new. I'll learn something new. It's so unpredictable, so I think that does scare me. I think so. I do my internship next year. I've already started applying for jobs and everything. But I think that probably scares me the most. I think it's going to be a very confronting year. I think it's going to be trying to navigate that will be quite difficult. But I'm so excited to get out there and work for what I've been studying for. So it should be very rewarding. So very exciting as well.
So obviously 2 Dougies sitting here interviewing you. Is there, and you were in Douglas too, is there a favourite event or part of Douglas that you loved while you were at Seymour?
Yeah, I think probably Clan Coral, definitely a highlight every year. I mean, we're going 7 years strong, so better not jinx it, but this year, yeah. So have you guys chosen your song and everything?
Yes, we've just submitted that.
Oh, very nice.
The set piece is being introduced this week.
Oh, lovely.
And rehearsals start week 9 for Clean Coral. So yes, it's all
Exciting.
coming up very quickly.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's so exciting. This is what I wish I knew.
Yeah.
So we'd love to hear one thing that you wish you knew when you were younger. This could be a piece of advice, a lesson you learned, or even a simple hack that helped you along the way. Could be Seymour related or outside of school.
Yeah, I think just a piece of advice would just be give everything a go. I think, and it sounds very cliche, but I do think that's just such good advice. I think embrace making mistakes, and everyone tells you that. But I think until you've kind of made those mistakes, you just learn from it every time. So I also think that just don't be scared to make mistakes as well. I think that's just such good advice that I've been given, and it makes me, because I tend to self-reflect a lot when I do make mistakes. And, you know, I get really caught up on it, but I think just taking a step back and being like, it's okay to make mistakes. Like, everybody makes mistakes. We're all learning. So, yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to do Tartan Threads, which is just rapid fire questions. Do you prefer coffee or energy drinks?
Coffee all the way.
Early shifts or night shifts?
Early shifts.
One word to describe paramedicine?
Challenging.
Dream job when you were little?
Chef.
Most essential shift snack?
Carmen's muesli bar.
Yeah. Favourite way to unwind after a busy day?
Reading.
Best piece of advice you've ever received?
Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
If you weren't becoming a paramedic, what would you be doing?
Doctor, I think.
3 words your friends would use to describe you?
Outgoing, confident, kind.
Current podcast, TV show or music recommendation?
This country, it's a TV show.
What keeps you motivated on the hard days?
Probably being a paramedic, I think. The profession, so helping people.
One thing you can't leave home without?
My Kindle.
Thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Mimi. We've definitely learnt a lot, and I'm sure all of the listeners will get to sort of understand what uni life is like, and yeah, it's been amazing to talk to you.
Thank you very much for having me, guys. It's been great.
Well, that's a wrap on this episode of Tartan Tales. A huge thank you to Mimi for sharing her journey to Seymour College to studying paramedicine, and for giving us an honest insight into university life and the healthcare profession. As always, we hope today's conversation has inspired you to explore your own interests, embrace new opportunities, and feel confident about the paths that lie ahead. Like the threads that make up our Blackwatch Tartan, Tartan Tales is all about weaving together the stories, experiences, and journeys that shape our Seymour community. Until next time, keep dreaming big, keep asking questions, and keep weaving your own story. Thanks for listening.